He had one moment and he blew it, literally. R5-D4 was the red astromech who could have changed everything, but instead he popped a motivator and got booted from the story. Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome back to Star Wars Relics, the show where we revisit the characters, creatures, and toys that help bring the Star Wars galaxy to life. Today we're looking at Kenner's R5-D4, who in his brief screen time did have his moment, which was enough to earn him his own action figure. R5-D4 makes his first appearance in A New Hope aboard the Jawa Sandcrawler, surrounded by a mix of scavenged droids. When the Sandcrawler reaches the Lars homestead, he is the first astromech selected to be sold, and ends up standing just ahead of R2-D2 in the lineup. Owen Lars picks R5-D4 and a protocol droid. As Luke takes them away for their new life on the moisture farm, R5 blows his motivator. Smoke pours out of his dome, and this mechanical mishap leads to R2-D2 being chosen instead. After that moment, R5-D4 is never again seen in the original trilogy. R5-D4 might have only had a brief moment in A New Hope, but that wasn't the end of his story. He later appeared in The Mandalorian, where we see him rolling around in Mos Eisley's cantina, a nice nod to his legacy in the saga. He also stars in a short story from the From a Certain Point of View anthology. It's actually a surprisingly touching tale. In it, R5 realizes that R2-D2 is carrying an important message and intentionally sabotages its own motivator so that R2 will be chosen instead. That said, I've always seen it a little differently. To me, it wasn't a noble droid sacrifice. It was the Force stepping in. That moment on the Lars homestead was too important to be left up to chance. One thing I really like about R5-D4 is that he reminds us that the Star Wars galaxy is filled with variety, even among astromech droids. Just like we have all sorts of cars, phones, or appliances here on Earth, the Star Wars universe isn't just R2 units. R5-D4 helps build that lived-in feeling of a real diverse galaxy. R5-D4 was released in the second wave of figures and first appeared on a 20-back card. Over time, he would show up on Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and Tri-Logo cards. And in typical fashion, the Tri-Logo release managed to make the card just a little bit worse. The original card image is taken from the moment right after Owen Lars picks R5, as he starts walking down the line of droids. Luke crouches next to R5 and gives him a closer look. It feels like a production still from a slightly different take. It's clearly shot from the opposite angle of the one we see in the film, and it doesn't feel posed, which gives it some authenticity. What makes this card stand out is that it actually connects to the scene in the movie, something that didn't always happen with early figures. Plus, bonus points for including Luke in the shot, unless you get the Tri-Logo version where Luke is awkwardly cropped out, though honestly, that feels more like bad luck than bad decision making. That said, I don't think it was the strongest option they had. If it were up to me, I would have gone with this image, or it's cleaner, more engaging, and it gives a good clean look at him. Or maybe even this one, a nice close-up from inside the Sandcrawler. In the end, the card isn't great, but it isn't bad either. The good, it's from the movie, easy to place, and Luke is in the shot. The bad, R5's at a side angle, and it doesn't do much to make the figure stand out. Still, in an era of hit or miss card images, this one falls somewhere just below average. Let's talk about the head sculpt. Honestly, they nailed the basic shape. No question, it's R5-D4. But when it comes to the details, they kept it pretty bare bones. They included the 3 large round sensors, but changed them all to red and left out all the smaller ones entirely. On top, the real droid has 8 colored panels, the figure only gives us 6. And the red pinstripe that outlines the top sides of the head, those are missing too. But they did get one thing right. The silver under the dome. It's a great touch that nicely mimics the neck area and adds some real detail on an otherwise simplified sculpt. So while it's definitely a stripped down version, it's still unmistakably R5-D4. And for the era, that's a win. At a glance, it looks like they nailed the costume, and that's mostly thanks to the sticker, but not so fast. First off, the legs are wrong. In the movie, R5-D4 has blue legs, identical to R2's, but the figure's legs were painted red. A pretty noticeable inaccuracy once you see it. Now, back to that sticker. This is where the detail shines. The layout and paneling are actually surprisingly accurate, and the only major differences are a few extra red elements added in. It really sells the look of the character. But the catch, it's a sticker, and like most vintage stickers, it's fragile, prone to peeling or bubbling, and the first thing to show wear. So while it provides impressive detail for the time, it came at the cost of long-term durability. So overall, thanks to the sticker, the figure looks impressively close to screen accurate, even with the incorrect leg color. Just don't expect that sticker to age gracefully. No matter how you rotate R5-D4’s torso, he keeps his footing. Whether it's pointed straight ahead or spun to the side, his stance remains rock solid. Thanks to his low center of gravity and evenly centered side legs, his balance is exceptional. You can even pose him mid-step as if he's shuffling across the Tatooine sand without the slightest risk of him tipping over. Just like Artoo, R5-D4 came without anything. No tools, no gadgets, not even a third leg, and that's a bit of a miss. We know they could do it. The droid factory playset included a third wheel that worked perfectly for R2 style droids. So it's not like the idea wasn't there. Would a removable third leg have made a big difference? Maybe not, but it would have gone a long way towards making the figure feel complete. As you know, for our second career, my wife and I started Fresh Solutions Therapy. My wife tells me that I sound like a used car salesman, which is not good. We are a serious psychotherapy practice that does serious work, and our team really is excellent. My wife also wants me to point out that I'm not a psychotherapist. You do not have to worry, you will not be working with me. I would be a truly terrible psychotherapist. But what I am good at is recognizing talent. And we've built a team of therapists who are genuinely excellent. So if something's been weighing on you for way too long, please visit freshsolutionstherapy.ca and book a free 15-minute consultation. I have no doubt our team can help you. Overall, it's unmistakably R5-D4. The silhouette is right, the head sculpt is solid, and the sticker brings in enough detail to make it instantly recognizable. That said, the sticker doesn't hold up well over time. It peels, it fades, and it's the first thing to go. But when it's intact, the design is actually quite good. I'm totally fine with the simplifications. In fact, I don't even mind that some of the blue details were changed to red. It adds to his identity as red, which always helped him stand out. Bottom line, if you didn't love the approach on the R2-D2 figure, you're probably not going to love it here either. But for what it is, a simple, budget-conscious figure from the early days gets the job done. I never actually owned R5-D4 as a kid, but one of my friends did, so I still got to play with him. I remember sticking him in my Y-wing, treating him pretty much like a red version of R2. In our universe, R5 wasn't a mechanic or a faulty droid. He was a weapon. He'd zip up, rotate his torso, and fire off a blast from his internal cannon. He was a cannon you could talk to. He got the same treatment as R2 because that's how our imaginations worked back then. He might have been a very minor character in the movie, but in our universe, he contributed a lot more. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, like, share, subscribe, and drop your own R5-D4 memories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If there's a topic you want to see covered, let me know. Don't forget to check out the Star Wars Relics Facebook page. I post the next episode's thumbnail there 24 hours before it goes live. And hey, if you know your Star Wars, you already know who's next. Until then, take care.